Most people avoid doing hard things. They wait for the perfect moment or the right conditions or for a point in their life when they've got enough experience or confidence to take on a challenge. But confidence and experience doesn't come first. Action does. That confidence will never come if you don't practice doing hard things now while the stakes are low. When you set yourself difficult personal challenges, you become the kind of person who isn't afraid of big challenges. And when a big scary opportunity comes along, you won't hesitate, you'll be ready. In this video, I'll show you why doing hard things is the fastest way to grow and how you can train yourself to take on bigger and better opportunities. I'm reading a fantasy series called The Stormlight Archive at the moment by Brandon Sanderson. I'm on book 4 of 5. They're great and they're long. In 2020, Brandon Sanderson did an online talk about a lie. The lie that is told to a lot of young people, that you can do or achieve anything you want. At this point, he is an insanely sexy author. At this point, he is an insanely successful author with millions of fans. As far as I can tell, he is doing anything he wants. So clearly some people can achieve anything they want, but he offers a realistic point of view of what it takes to be one of those people. He published 13 manuscripts before he got a book published. And as someone who's written a very short book, I can tell you that is no easy task. But he writes 1,000-page epics. So to write 13 manuscripts without any commercial success is no joke. We've all heard that J.K. Rowling got rejected by 27 or something publishers before the first Harry Potter book was published. And that shows determination and persistence, of course. But that was her first book, not her 13th. For every success story, like Brandon Sanderson or J.K. Rowling, there are 1,000 other people who have written hundreds of thousands of words or who have painted hundreds of paintings and still haven't found any commercial success. Luck plays a bigger role than we'd like to admit, and we don't know how much of what made Brandon Sanderson a success was his skill, his talent, or luck. Those are his words. But it's probably a combination of all three. We can look around at the creatives we love and look up to and see their success and think, I'm going to do what they did. But that doesn't guarantee that you're going to have the same success they have. Even if you are more skilled or more naturally talented, you might not be as lucky as they've been. You can't control luck. You don't get a say in how naturally gifted you are in your art. The only thing you can influence is building the skill. So that might seem like a negative outlook, but if you've got a big ambitious goal like being a professional artist, illustrator, author, dancer, athlete, or whatever, it can happen. But you've got to focus on the right things, even if they're hard, especially if they're hard. So why should we practice doing hard things? Well, doing hard things has intrinsic value, meaning it's a valuable exercise in itself. Doing hard things will make you a better person, even if you end up failing, even if no one notices. You will become better in the process. Most people avoid doing hard things voluntarily and only do them when they have to do them, when there's no other choice. But if you only take on hard challenges when you're forced to, you'll always feel unprepared and experience that self-doubt and imposter syndrome that plagues creative people. Brandon Sanderson didn't wait for the perfect moment. He didn't wait for a publisher to validate him before he started writing seriously. He built his skills in the dark with no fans and no guarantees. If he'd stopped after book 12 or book 5 or even book 1, we'd never have the Stormlight Archive, which has sold like 10 million copies and is a New York Times bestseller. The fastest way to improve is to practice doing hard things even when no one is watching. When you take on personal challenges, self-imposed difficult projects where the stakes are fairly low, you rewire your brain to see challenges as opportunities, not as threats. Most people look at something difficult and think, that looks scary, what if I fail? But if you've practiced doing difficult things, your mindset shifts to, that looks interesting, I wonder if I can figure it out. And that's the difference between people who freeze when a big opportunity comes along and the people who are ready for it. If Apple or Google or any international big brand came along and wanted to hire you straight out of school, well, that's an awesome opportunity, but you'd be scared as hell. What if you don't know the words that they use and you end up sounding stupid? What if you make a mistake? What if you're not as creative as they think you are? You would be totally unprepared. But if you've been trying to make it as an illustrator for a few years and you've made 100, 200 illustrations, you know what your process is and you know what you can and can't do. And you can see this new opportunity as a reward for your consistent hard work that's finally paid off. So here are a few ideas of hard things you can do so you can become the kind of person who does hard things without fear. Set yourself a daily challenge. Email a client to introduce yourself and your work every day for 100 days. Work on your illustration portfolio for 3 hours a day for a month and see how much you can improve it. Create a new illustration every day for a week and see what that kind of time restriction unlocks for you. You can also expand your time horizon. I think I left my conversion chart for books versus illustrations at home, but writing 13 manuscripts must have taken a minimum of 5 years. Commit to working for 5 years on your dream outcome, whatever it is. Even if you don't get any success or clients or followers on social media, if you make an illustration every 2 weeks for 5 years, you'll be really good at what you do by the end of it. Your skills will be on point, you'll have made up for any lack of natural talent, and you'll be ready for whatever opportunity comes your way. You could also try creating a personal project that is so ambitious that you think you'll probably never be able to do it. Something that will require you to learn skills that you don't even have the first clue about now. Something that will really test you. Then you break it down into the smallest possible steps and get to work. Chip away at it every day, push through the dips and the discomfort, and keep going. You may never finish it, but the goal isn't to succeed every time. The goal is to build the habit of stepping up to the challenge so that when your big moment arrives, your lucky break, whether it's a dream client or project that requires you to step out of your comfort zone and get completely out of your depth, you won't hesitate. You'll know you can do it because you're already the kind of person who does hard things every day. I was going to do a joke here and say, I eat hard things for breakfast, and then I was going to eat one of those Kind bars with the nuts because they're really hard, but forgot to bring it. Imagine two illustrators. Let's call them Play It Safe Sam and Up for a Challenge Charlie. Sam is a decent illustrator, he's got talent and he enjoys drawing, but he avoids anything that feels too difficult. He only takes on the projects that feel familiar, styles he's already comfortable with, subjects he knows he can draw well. If a client asks him for something outside of his usual skill set, he turns it down or he plays it super safe. When he gets a project, he completes it to a good standard, never bad, but never remarkable either. He doesn't push himself because pushing yourself is uncomfortable. He sticks with what works. And at first, this seems fine. He gets by, clients are happy, but they don't really rave about him. He's replaceable. Then one day, an amazing opportunity comes his way, a dream client, a high-profile project. It's bigger and more complex than anything he's done before, and suddenly he feels completely underprepared. Because he's never practiced tackling things outside his comfort zone, his brain goes straight to panic. What if I mess this up? What if I'm not as good as I think I am? What if I say yes and end up embarrassing myself? So he turns it down, or worse, he takes it on and crumbles under the pressure, and that dream opportunity ends up going to somebody else. Now let's look at Charlie. Charlie is no more talented than Sam. In fact, maybe Charlie started out worse. Less skill, less natural ability, maybe lower education level, but Charlie made one different choice. She actively sought out difficult things. Early on, she decided to set challenges for herself, small, low-stakes projects that stretched her abilities. She tried styles and techniques she wasn't used to. She took on commissions that pushed her limits. She practiced presenting her work, even when it terrified her, and she reached out to clients, even though rejection felt scary. A lot of these challenges turned out pretty badly for Charlie. Some pretty embarrassing moments in meetings and things, and some pretty ugly artwork as a result. But every time she learned something, she got better. More importantly, she got used to doing hard things. So when that big opportunity finally comes, when a dream client reaches out with a high-stakes project, Charlie's brain doesn't go to panic. Instead, she thinks, this is interesting. I wonder if I can work it out. I've done difficult things before. This is just another challenge. Let's go for it. And she steps up, she delivers, and the client remembers her. They're impressed. They want to hire Charlie again. And slowly but surely, Charlie makes a great career for herself. Charlie and Sam might have started at the same level, but after 5 years, who do you think is going to be further ahead? Sam is still doing safe, small projects, worried that he's not ready for something bigger. Charlie is thriving because she's made herself ready and put herself out there. And the only difference, Charlie practiced doing hard things when the stakes were low. The luck factor in this story is that big imaginary opportunity, and truth is, that might never happen for Sam or Charlie. But of the two, who do you think is most likely to be approached with a big amazing opportunity like that in the first place? It's Charlie. If you want to grow, don't wait until you have to do something difficult. Start now while the stakes are low and practice. So here's a challenge. Pick one thing that feels just outside your comfort zone and commit to doing it this week. Let me know in the comments what challenge you're going to take on. I'd love to hear it. And if you liked this video, you might also like this one, which is about 100-day challenges.